Stats, we talk story. I'm your host, Kevin Howell, and today we're locking in with a name that's stamped in bold ink across the Texas hoop scene. At 6'3", tough as nails, the MVP of a state championship squad, and doing damage on the Adidas 3SB circuit with Southern Assault. Class of 26, but already moving like a pro. He just picked up a fresh offer from Nevada, and when you see the tape, you know why. What you see is fire, feel, and leadership. But today, we're going to get the full picture. Let's get into it. One of the realest dogs in Texas high school basketball, Silas Rodriguez. Welcome to the Watchlist, my guy.
I appreciate that. I appreciate that.
You know, let's get what the people want.
For sure.
Mindset of a champion. At this point, you've done what most high school basketball guys dream of. You win a state title, you walk with the MVP, and you stamp your name in Texas basketball history. But let's be real, that kind of success doesn't come without sacrifice.
No doubt.
So what do you feel like you had to give up to get there? How did your journey shape you in getting there?
Well, I feel like there was a lot of sacrifices along the way. A lot of talented guys can go and average 30 in a high school and for their high school varsity team. And, they just won't be really good, but they'll just be like putting up numbers. But this year's team, I knew had a chance to go really far. So it was really just buying into winning games, not worrying so much about like personal accolades and stats and just sacrificing that portion. And also, throughout the season, I was dealing with like different like injuries and just like nagging things that I had to push through just to give my team a chance to win. Like throughout that playoff run, like knees, ankles, it's a 40, 50 game season. So it was a lot, but you just got to keep it pushing. And it was a sacrifice that I'm happy I made because it paid off.
Let's go a little bit deeper because we can say, you sacrificed pieces of your game. You still walked away with the MVP. So what kind of sacrifices let's go into that, like prior to, before the season even begins. Like
Yeah.
I know you, yeah. Let's talk
Yeah,
about
for
that
sure.
piece.
Yeah, so off season was a grind. You really gotta. I think championships are definitely made in the off season, and that started in summer. TABC, TABC. We played 3 future state champs, and we just got to work in the
Wow.
summer. We ended up playing TABC last year. It was funny. We played Kimball, Beaumont, Westbrook, and St. Francis. Beaumont, Westbrook
hmm
won state. Kimball won state. I think St. Francis was the runner-up, but
hmm
we got to work in the summer. August is our conditioning month. We got straight to it, like working hard. It was rough, but it really let us bond as a team. And if you want to do anything great, you got to sacrifice a lot. And we all knew that. And our coach told us that from the start. He was like, if you guys want to do this, you can, but it's going to take a lot. So that was off-season practices. It's 2 hours on a Friday. You might want to be getting home, but we're in there in the gym grinding together.
Man, that means so much to me. Like when you sit back, because I think everyone in their own personal journey, like feels like they're working hard. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? But to hear a champion and hear other champions that are on this podcast, other episodes talk about really what they had to do, because you do sacrifice friends outside of basketball. Like they're still your friends, but you're not doing everything with them,
Right.
So yeah, man, I agree a whole hell of a lot on that. Let's talk about the playoffs get deeper. Did your mindset shift, routine change, or any noticeable way? Were there specific habits you locked in on?
Um, you know, Throughout the playoffs, you really started to get beat down, and that's when you start to make these little mistakes and things you really got to key on. But throughout the
Mhm.
playoffs, I think a big thing was just keeping routine. I was staying in the gym shooting, even though, it's a long season. I'm sore, but I'm shooting in between games, in between practices, making sure I'm getting that in. And it definitely shifts because it turns from you're just playing, you're having fun, and now it's win or go home. So every game has a big time importance to it. Like we had 10 seniors this year, and none of those guys wanted it to be their last game, and I didn't want it to be my last game for the season. So you really
Yeah.
you push that much harder because you know it could all be over with, but you just want to live to play one more game.
You know, I'm not gonna bust you out, but I'm just curious. You were off Twitter for a while, so I was wondering if you were pulling a LeBron James and just shutting social media down, or let's talk about that.
Yeah, so after that state championship, uh there was definitely a lot of a lot of celebration, a lot of when you achieve something like that, it's you just sit back and enjoy it. And for me, a lot of that was just tuning out a lot of the noise, you
Hmm.
know. And for me, that was just I got off Twitter, wasn't on there as
Yeah,
much. I really got back to just recovering, making sure my body was right. And I was grinding in the gym still, but I wasn't like putting it out there and engaging as much, just because you just got to keep the main thing. And that's something I learned throughout the our championship run. And I just sat
yeah,
back and enjoyed it. I didn't let any of the noise get to me, and I spent time with my family and friends and just enjoyed what
yeah.
we sacrificed to do.
That's awesome, man. I mean, uh, really and truthfully, that shows us a sign of maturity because you knew you were beat up. You knew you were mentally drained. Like you said, man, that's a long season. Um, there's a lot of mental toughness that goes into that. So I
Yeah.
think you're smart to do that. And then whenever you're ready, you get back on there. I don't know why my camera went off, but everybody's here to see you anyway. So we're just gonna keep going, all right?
All right,
uh,
sounds good with me.
and then so after winning it all, how do you stay hungry? What keeps you from getting comfortable?
Well, for me, winning the state championship was a great feeling, but that that for me was never my end goal. Like
Mm,
I'm more than happy to win it, and that was my goal for that season. But I had big dreams and
mm.
a lot of things I want to do. So for me, that was just a stepping stone, like just something to be thankful to God for. So it was really just, that's great. Now keep working. I have a long way to go, and obviously I'm grateful and blessed to be able to do the things I've done. But it really didn't. It wasn't like what else is there to do? Like for me, it's like
Mm.
you got a whole nother season to play.
Yeah.
Then you make the run to you make the pass from high school to college, and I just know that there's so much more to accomplish, and I'm
Mm.
hungry to do new things.
You know, I I equate it to I tweeted something out earlier today, and it was kind of in regard to you, but you know, a dog, right? A dog is either going to be running to protect what he's got, or you're going to find somebody on the court and you're going to take what they got.
Yeah,
And so I think it's very hard for people to really get into that mindset, to understand that mindset. Like if you're really honest with yourself and you're not built that way, then you don't really understand what we're talking about.
right,
Because I mean, you're different. I mean, you got to admit to yourself that you know you're different.
for sure, for sure.
Okay, I mean, and
Yeah,
that's humble.
I feel it. Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, this is real talk. I don't give a damn what. Like, this is my opportunity to talk to you. You know, share your story. But at the same time, offer something to you of value in a conversation because man, I've looked forward to this. And I told you that. Uh,
yeah,
for me, the podcast, yeah, it's about getting people on, but the coolest part is I get a chance. I get the chance to be a fan, and get some of the mindset and those type pieces, and really, share it with the people that need to know it. But let's move on, man. I want to talk about the Adidas circuit. You know, Now you're, in the trenches of the 3SB circuit.
Yeah,
Your
for sure.
team, Southern Assault, travel weekends and live periods, and the best of the best is on the floor. What's something you learned about yourself as a player, as a person, while competing on that level?
Well, 17U is the highest level of AAU basketball, and 3SSB has been amazing to compete on. I honestly loved our group of coaches and group of players. It's been a blessing to find somewhere that feels like home, and I'm really thankful to Southern Assault for that. But one thing I've learned about myself is just playing on that circuit, you play against a lot of the top players that are ranked at 5 stars and 4 stars. And for me, that really just solidified, which I already knew, but it was just refreshing to feel is that like, hey, I'm just as good as, if not better than a lot of these guys. And it was just great to compete against that because
Mm-hmm.
if you're just like we were talking about, if you're a dog, you're gonna want to play the best of the best. You're gonna want to test yourself to that. So
Mm-hmm.
it's just a great platform to be able to do that.
Yeah, man, I really enjoy that platform. I enjoy all the different circuits, shoe circuits. My favorite is the circuit that up, in the Rockwall. They did the Dallas, Duncanville area, where all the different shoe circuits play against each other. Man, that's like my Mardi Gras or my celebration time. Man, it's just fun to
Yeah.
watch. Um, has there been a favorite like town or stop that sticks out? Like I don't know, y'all. I don't know
If
where
I
y'all
had
headed
to,
next.
if I had to
Hmm.
pick one, I think this next stop is going to be my favorite one. That 3SSB finale, we're going to go out to Rock Hill, South Carolina for 8 days, and
Yeah,
it's going to be fun. I'm looking forward to it.
man, I can't wait to for you to text me and let me know how it's going, man. Maybe
No, for sure I
whenever you
will.
get back and we'll hop back on and just kind of catch people up. But your most recent offer is Nevada. It came through. Was that a surprise to you, or how did that moment feel after everything you put in? I know you've gotten several offers prior to them.
Well, I had been in contact with them for a couple weeks, so I knew the interest was there. But just getting that offer and hearing that, it's definitely a feeling I can't describe because all my life that's something I've been training and trying to accomplish is to play Division I basketball, and to be given that opportunity, it feels great. And I really like their conference. I really like the school, so it was a blessing to be able to receive that.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. And when you start to think about the percentages of guys that make it to play, any type of college basketball, much less Division I, you're talking about 5%, as low as 3%. So it's pretty special, man. I'm happy for you.
Thank you,
Um,
thank you.
let's see. With so many eyes, during the live periods, how do you mentally prepare to perform at a high level every game?
So for that, you really just gotta remember why you want to play.
Hmm.
At some point, you just gotta realize that this is you play basketball because you love to play basketball. You play basketball because you love to win. You love to have fun. So when I'm out there, I'm really just playing to win games and just because I love it. So it's really if you just key in onto that and before games I'll pray and lock into that. And it really doesn't like you could be playing like when we played in the state championship in the Alamo Dome or we're playing on the main court in Rock Hill with all these college coaches there. You know, it doesn't phase me as much anymore because you work hard, you trust your work, and if they love you and want to offer you, that's great. And if they don't, then it's the next game. You just got to keep working. So it's not putting too much pressure on yourself and just letting whatever happen happen.
It's kind of like you just sit back and let your competitive fire take over. You know.
Yeah, no doubt.
So people call players dogs all the time. I feel like you've earned that label the way you play on both ends, your leadership and toughness. Where does that mentality come from within you? Is it upbringing, coaching, or something that just inside of you had to develop?
I think that my upbringing definitely had a piece to play in that. My parents have always pushed me really hard and told me that if this is something I want to do, that I got to have a different level than all these other people have. That I just got to have an aggression towards me, and I got to show that on the court. And I think that's something that some people are just born with, and that you can hone. And I've always felt that that I had a extra gear and just an extra passion for the game that allows me to do the things that I've done.
All right. I got caught up in your response. But so the moment that the matchup of last season, or the moment, you talked about how you're playing against 4 and 5 stars, and you feel like, I can play on the stage. Was there a specific moment or a mindset shift that pushed you there?
Well, I would say that in terms of AAU, we went out to three SSB session in Nebraska, and we were playing against match rivals, and we're playing against this 5 star. I think his name was like something Wilkins. He's going to Duke, and we were just playing, and I was getting going. And when I'm out there, it's like, yeah, this dude has all this notoriety, but when this game steps on, there's nothing like all that stuff doesn't matter. Like I'm just out here hooping, and
Yeah.
I'm attacking him, and we ended up winning the game, and that's just shows what I was talking about. Like when it's on the court, that's all that matters is what happens there.
I got a feeling that I know how you're going to respond to this, but are you trying, does it motivate you, um, when we're a 3 star, not a 4 star? Is that motivating you, or is it really your work and your desire to kick somebody's ass supersede that?
Honestly, see, I didn't even know I was a 3 star until my mom sent it to me. But it's always been a thing for me that for me that's just a list of people to
Hmm.
show, and people like you said is people to go after. It's hey, you got something I want, like go after that. So whenever I step on a court and there's someone that's a 4 star or quote unquote 5 star, then that's just that much better for me. It's just the opportunity to show what I can do.
All right, man. So now let's get into it. Let's get interesting right now.
All right,
So
all
we're
right.
gonna flip the lens around. Everyone sees how you respond as a hooper, but we all want to know who Silas Rodriguez is when he's off the court. What do people not see behind the game?
Shoot. Well, when I'm off the court, which I had to say isn't a lot, but I have some hobbies. I love spending time with my family. We're a close knit, a family of four. We do everything together. We go out to eat
Hmm.
together. We work out together. We talk, watch movies. So whenever I have a chance to, I make sure that I'm spending time with them because at the end of the day, your family is who really loves you and who really cares about you and sacrifices with you. They see all the things people don't see. So a lot of the time of my time off the court is I'm spending with them. I'll spend with friends. I'll golf here and there. I'm not any good at it, but I'll do it every so often. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm working on that part, but that's some of the stuff I do off the court.
So if we're saying like how you reset mentally, like, is that what the golf game's about?
I would agree with that. I hadn't done it until recently, and just being
Hmm.
out there is peaceful. There's no one looking at you. You're not competing with anyone. You're outside. It's just there's a calmness to it that I really like, and yeah, that's definitely a way to reset. Or for me too, I like to read, so that's something that I can do to reset. Is just like get immersed in a book and just go ahead and get into that.
All right, man. So let's talk about people in your circle. How would you describe people that are in your circle to help you stay focused and humble, grounded, even as your platform grows?
Yeah, so my circle's definitely small, and I think I don't regret that at all. I keep
Yeah.
my circle is definitely my parents keep me grounded. I pour into my little sister, and I have
Hmm.
family and friends. People in the church that I have relationships with, and I have friends that I know that I can count on. And even if it's just to go out and grab a bite to eat, just to hang out with someone, or I
Hmm.
have a couple of friends that I can count on it. I do that with, but my circle has definitely always been like family, couple friends. I've always kept it tight.
That's good, man. Stay that way because as you elevate,
Appreciate
that
that.
circle gets smaller.
Yep.
And that's awesome, man. As a young man, that's an awesome outlook on it. You got a bright future. Offers are coming in. You've proven you can lead a team, and now you're all still growing. But behind the rankings and highlights, what's the vision, long term goal in your game? I know you mentioned Division One. Um, it, we don't. We always everybody wants to go to the league, but
Yeah, for
you
sure.
know, for sure. But like, do you have like what are your short term, mid term goals?
Well, I have no shortage of goals if I'm being totally honest. I got a lot of things I
That's
want to
great.
do. I want to first, we got this 3 SSB session next weekend. I'm trying to win a championship there.
Mhm.
Then after that, we have another live period, so I'm gonna go there and I'm trying to go 4-0. I want to pick up any offers I can, and then after that is the high school season. I want to be committed
Mhm.
by then, so that's another goal before the high school season starts. I want to have that out the way, and then I want to have a great high school season where I'm just getting better, and I can look back in a year and be like, "Hey, I'm a completely different player than I was last year." And then,
Mhm.
like we spoke about, I want to go play Division 1 basketball wherever that might be. And then, like every little kid's dream, I want to play pro one day, whether that's the NBA or overseas. I just want to play basketball at the highest level. But other than that, in terms of goals, I want to be able to, when you have money like that, I feel like I'd love to be able to like buy my parents a house, cars, be able
Mhm.
to provide my little sister. I feel like that would be great. And then I also want to pave the way for. There's not a whole lot of Indian hoopers out there. There's not a whole lot of Puerto Rican hoopers out there. So like for my race, I just want to show guys out there that like, hey, you can do this too. Like you can be a great basketball player, even though you might not look around and see a whole lot of people like you. That it's possible. So I really want to be able to pave the way for them too.
Man, I love that. I do that last piece, because everybody's a trailblazer in some kind of way. Some are better than others, and I really appreciate that. That's something that you want to do. Um, Selfishly, I'm gonna plug the Noble Classic. Uh, I can't wait to see you there. I'll be
Can't wait.
covering that. Oh yeah, man.
It's
I
a
went
great
last
event for
year.
sure.
Yes, yes. And so you gotta save me time to get a picture with the man, But I'll be looking
Gotcha.
forward to seeing you out there, man. So I'm gonna put a bow on this, man. Let's wrap it up. This is the episode of the Watch List with Silas Rodriguez. But if you're watching and still sleeping on Silas, you better wake up because the tide's gonna turn. This isn't just a talented guard; he's a winner, a leader, and a young man who's putting in the work off the court and on the court. Shout out Southern Assault. Shout out Denton Geyer and everyone that's in his corner. This is Kevin Howell, and this is the Watch List powered by TAAN-TV. We'll catch y'all next time. Keep your eyes open and see who moves different. Silas, I appreciate it, man.
I appreciate you
Um,
having me.